Greetings and welcome to episode 278 of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly news and culture discussion podcast for Words About Games. Slap my knees as I was doing that, like, yeehaw! Let's go! I'm your host, Danny K. Alexander. I'm joined this week by Daft Moody.
It's Monday. You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. I have got a cold, but I'm going to push through this. That's it.
We can do this. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah. We got this.
A subdued Moody might be happening this episode.
A subdued Moody and an Amy who streamed for 4.5 hours earlier today. We've got this. It's fine.
And don't worry, if you see me taking drugs, don't worry. They are illegal drugs.
I'm getting high, baby. That's not Lemsip. Oh no, it's happening. We're going already. I would ask how are you, but
I'm overall okay. Like I've said to you privately, like my partner had it worse. Like she was dying. I think it was just fair. And
I have seen her, by the way. So she is
alive. She's fine. She's actually next to me eating her lunch or dinner. But yeah, she had it worse. But I've obviously caught the inevitability of it was inevitable. The partner catches it from the partner.
yeah, pretty much.
I'm not as bad as her, but it's just like it's just making me not want to do stuff at the same time. Just like I kind of just want to sit, watch TV. Chill. Like I said to you last Wednesday?
Yeah.
When I finished college, because I'm off this week, obviously. I said, Amy, I'm going to play games that I haven't played yet. And you literally said, I'll believe it when I see it. I said, no, but I'm going to. Next day, I caught the cold. And I'm just like, are you seriously kidding me? Like, Amy foresaw this. Obviously not foresaw me getting a cold, just foresaw me not playing games.
Yeah. And it's no shade. It's just like, I've heard this before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's fair. But I was just like, I have a list, and I'm like, oh, I've even got it in order of how I want to start, and I'm just like,
did you take my spreadsheet?
Yeah. I've created. I'll send you.
That's cool. Just send me a picture or something. I just want to see what you're doing. Because we did that. That was one of the streams, wasn't it? Where it was afterwards. Someone was asking me like, oh, like, I can't remember what the question was, and my answer was, here's my spreadsheet. I remember being like, someone said, that's super organized. And I remember saying, like, yes, I'm Amy. If my life isn't this organized, it all falls apart.
That is true, ladies and gentlemen. I have known her for a while now. Her life does fall apart. She's unorganized.
If I don't write it down, I'll forget it's happening. Remember when we were going to play Phasmophobia and I didn't write it down, and you text me like an hour after we were supposed to start. I'm like, weren't we supposed to be playing the game? And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah. We were, you're right.
Yeah, I won't lie. Elf didn't get in contact either.
That's why I have two calendars, a Google Doc, and a spreadsheet.
True.
And I can just about manage to organize myself to do things. It's the best. Neurodivergence. I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that. Shall we drink to that? Cheers. That is the tea, sis. That is the tea. Amy bought me this.
But I've had a haircut, as everyone can see.
Yeah, you have. You're more aerodynamic now.
Yes. Not as maybe if Lewis Hamilton cut his hair a little bit, he might have got past a little.
Oh, let's not talk about that. I was upset.
It was disappointing.
To say the least.
I think he's going to win it.
I hope so.
No, I'm saying I think Max is going to win it.
Oh, I hope not. No.
It's the first time I've ever thought Max is going to win this, isn't he?
There's still 5 races left. Anything can happen.
Well, when you don't have a teammate who's just deciding I'm not going to overtake anyone at all.
That's Bottas. He's done that like all the time. He can't overtake people.
Yeah. So that's when he won his race, I was thinking, well, you haven't took anyone, mate.
That's the only way he can win. If he's already in the front, he just goes.
Yeah.
But like, if he's even if he's at the back, he still just goes.
That is true.
Should we talk about the changes?
Changes to the podcast, the streaming, the highlights, the reviews, the breakdowns, and everything like that, Amy. Why not, indeed? You know what? Because I love you so much, I'm going to leave you to do it.
No, you literally had to end the stream for me today because I was like struggling to just be like, I'm going to stop now. And I just remember you in the stream and just going, well, that's it. And I was like, thank you, Moody. Thank you, Moody.
Well, you were asked a question that literally just came out of left field, and you were like,
I was like,
I don't know how to respond to this.
Shit. Maybe being live was a mistake. No, I mean, people have probably noticed some of the changes considering we reviewed a game on last week's podcast, but we've like made some changes. I know that's like the running theme of 2021, but we did say at the start of the year that we would keep tweaking things all year while we try to figure out the best way to do things. I think we've reached the end point, but I'm not going to jinx it and say we definitely reached the end point because we probably haven't.
Amy, you're the one who texts me saying, I've got new ideas. Not me saying I've got ideas. It's you who's got ideas.
Well, no, you came up with half of this shit. I just came on and I went, I want this. And you were like, well, that's stupid.
Well, I looked at it and I was thinking it made no sense. You basically were talking to a friend of ours and he said, I need Moody. And then you got in contact with me and I went, all right, let's have a look. Let's have a talk. And then we figured it all out.
We did. So we're going to stream a lot. Well, I'm going to stream a lot more. I have been streaming a lot more. That's the thing. There was a soft launch. I was like, let's experiment and see what happens. And it turns out the experiment was a resounding success. We have a much more heavier emphasis on streaming over at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames, where I've been doing like, I'm building myself back up because I need that streaming stamina back. But like, I've been streaming for like 4 or 5 hours a go most nights.
Yeah,
days.
you have.
I'm like not even really feeling it, so... Like, not feeling like, oh, man, I'm tired. Oh, man, I need to stop soon. Just like, I could keep going.
You've really got into it. Yeah, you kept on going and you've really enjoyed it. And it's really good. Yeah, it's healthy to see that, which is good.
I'm enjoying it. And I think that comes through. I mean, Saturday night, when we got to like midnight and then we were still going, was a bit of a, I think we need to stop now situation.
Well, we weren't doing anything. We were just chatting.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? We've done like 3 streams now that have just ended with us just chilling and chatting. I've got the hip hop on and the lo-fi hip hop beats, and we're just sitting there chatting about whatever fucking bollocks comes to mind. But basically, it's twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames is a very much more active place now. It's a great place. It's a chill place. It's a place to play games, have fun, chat about stuff. Find out that Returnal was the 25th most scariest, best game to play from that list that you gave me, which broke me in half. For ages. Like, it was a good 5 minutes where I was just like, what? No. What? What? No.
Wasn't there another game that was even higher? You were just like, that's not even scary.
I don't know. I don't remember. The Returnal one was the one I was like, what the fuck? There was I
think you were disappointed that Bloodborne wasn't higher.
Yeah.
I think Bloodborne was like 16th or something.
Yeah, because you were saying, I'll read the top 5, and I was like, is Bloodborne in it? And you were like, no. And I was like, it's shitless.
She did say that,
So yeah, I put out weekly schedules up on Twitch and over on Twitter, so like you can, like, I can't schedule any further in advance than a week, basically. But we do night streams, we do afternoon streams, we do super late streams that are like short, so I can play short games that only last like a couple hours. And you can check all that out. It's fun. I just finished Unsighted today. On Twitch, we've been playing a lot of Back 4 Blood recently. A lot of Phasmo, especially with the new update coming. Some Among Us, some Fall Guys. Lots of streams, and so the way content works on YouTube is we're still gonna do the podcast every single week. It's still gonna be roughly the same podcast. But with the added thing of this is where we're going to do reviews like we did last week with Inside Mind. Like we got two up this week. Moody's going to try his best to keep me to like talking for like 10 minutes or less on games. And if there's ever like games where we wanted to talk about more, we've got ideas for that. I'm not going to say what the Oxford have done one yet. But we have ideas for like bigger conversations about bigger games. Like I'm going to stream Lost Judgment, and that'll probably be the one where we're like, let's try this idea out because it's like a massive game. where it's like, you want me to talk for 10 minutes? 10 minutes will get me to explain what the game is.
Yeah.
When
it comes to this type of thing, we're gonna try something different. So.
Yeah, we're gonna try something a little bit different. There's gonna be 2 highlight videos a month instead of 1. So on the 1st and the 16th of every month, because there's just so many more streams, which means there's so many more clips, which means the videos were gonna be fucking ridiculously long. So I'm splitting them up into 2 videos. So on the 1st of every month and on the 16th of every month, you get a new highlights video. Which will be like so the one coming out on the 1st of November will be like the one for the first half of October. And then the one that comes out on the 16th of November will be for the last half of October. And then it'll just keep going like that. This month's, the first half of October one is super long compared to the other ones. Again, we streamed a lot more, but also it's probably, from the feedback I've gotten from people, it's the best one we've done. So
it's nothing but laughs. Like
it's just wall to wall. Us. I want to just say it's us. It's just us at this point. Like, we have a very particular energy on streams.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like, I'll just say, like, I do intend to get back to streaming, but it's like I'm gonna stream games that speak to me. So like, I'm already planning, like, Football Manager's coming out soon. I'm probably gonna stream that. Pokemon, I am gonna stream the crap out of that. That's something I really want to have a crack at, just because I'm a huge Pokemon nerd. I'm a mark for it, and like, even if I don't find a Bulbasaur, you'll see me crazily go crazy on that stream.
And that'll be amazing, like, because I can clip it, put it in a highlight video.
Yep.
So there's that. With reviews, we're doing them in the podcast, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull them out as well and put them out as their own videos on YouTube. Takes like an extra 5 minutes just to do that. So like, if you come to us for the reviews, you don't have to wait through the podcast to find them. They'll just be a little bit different because they'll just be us talking on a podcast. I've got 2 reviews that we did with the old style for Teacup and Life is Strange Wavelengths, which I still need to put up as well. So they'll filter through at some point. Basically, as we transition from old to new, there might be a week, maybe this week, maybe next week, where you're just gonna get a shit ton of videos all of a sudden, just start dropping in as we like move over to the new system.
Yeah.
I guess.
I think what we're doing is really kind because it's setting us up ready for the beginning of the new year. Like, we're only like 10 weeks left for the of 2021. So
yeah, we need to have a plan, because that's gonna be that's gonna be wild. Like 2022 is gonna be wild with games.
Like, if anyone has watched the Life is Strange video, everyone knows what has happened to me in my life this year, and I've kind of wanted to get out of 2021 since the beginning of 2021.
That's fair. That's fair. Fresh start.
I'm like, dun, 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 dun,
and you can just see me coming behind him, just like no, like trying to protect him as much as I can. Because I will protect him.
Name's with a giant
at all
axe.
Costs.
You'll understand that reference when we get to a certain game later
giant
on.
Axe. Oh, I wish I had a giant axe. And that's it. So I'm going to make a proper intro for the podcast that incorporates all of this information, like a proper one, like Moody's got for reviews and stuff. And one of the things I'm going to put in that intro is the streams for the week ahead, because on Wednesday at 8 p.m, where Moody and it's only a 4-player game, but like there's 6 other people. So I don't know how this is going to work, but we're going to stream Phasmophobia from 8 p.m. with the new update that's just come out, the Halloween update called Nightmare, which should be a barrel of laughs. On Thursday at 7 p.m, I'm going to start streaming Inscription, and then on Saturday at 8:30 p.m, we're streaming Among Us and maybe more Phasmophobia. It says other multiplayer games, but I'm not going to lie. If we switch games on that Saturday, it's going to be the Phasmo.
Probably, yeah. Just
probably because it's the new update, right?
Yeah.
There's timestamps in the description below the video on YouTube and also wherever you get your podcasts, because we are up on a bunch of different audio services, including Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and more that I've never even heard of. What the fuck even is Breaker? I don't know. But you might, and you might listen to this podcast there, and that's awesome if you do. Shall we actually start the actual podcast with all of that information out there now?
Yes.
Yes,
Why the
let's
hell
do
not?
that. Why the hell not? So we got the news, then we got some reviews later, and then we've got the usual stuff we end with games out this week and OpenCritic Head-To-Head. But first, Ubisoft employees upset with lack of communication on misconduct reports. This is from Brendan Sinclair over at gamesindustry.biz, who writes, despite assurances from Ubisoft that it has made major changes to its reporting processes after last year's wave of reports detailing sexual misconduct tolerated at the company, a number of former and current employees say the publisher is still not handling claims appropriately. Kotaku reported on stories from 9 current or former Ubisoft employees who said the publisher still mishandles employee complaints. One made a report through one of Ubisoft's multiple anonymous reporting systems, but said they never heard back about the case or even asked questions about it. One person said they had to repeatedly call and email the external firm Ubisoft hired to review employee complaints to get an answer, only to be told weeks later that they would not investigate the case with no reason given. Another tried reporting their case through multiple avenues only to be repeatedly told it would be investigated and pushed up the chain of command, but they never received actual updates about how their case was resolved. Quote, I suddenly began to understand the response some veteran Ubisoft devs gave me when I tried to recruit them to come forward about similar issues. It was always some variation of, same thing happens every few years. I've reported X number of things with witnesses and proof, and either nothing was done or person X was promoted or moved. It's sad, and if it's an intentional way of burying this stuff, it's working, end quote. Regardless of employees' dissatisfaction with the reporting systems Ubisoft has set up, the publisher has told some of them it will not tolerate them going public with problems. The Kotaku report quotes an email sent to staff by Ubisoft Montreal director Christophe Derenez, who stepped into that role after its previous holder, Ubisoft Canada CEO Yannis Mallet, left the company in the wake of last year's scandals. Quote, as you know, your experiences and the information you have access to while working in the studio are privileged and cannot be shared outside of the studio. Obviously, this does not prevent journalists from trying to contact you. If that happens, we ask that you forward the request to our media relations officer. It's the right thing to do, but it's also a commitment you made under the Code of Conduct, the anti-leak policy, and your employment contract, end quote. A Ubisoft representative did not immediately reply to request for a comment. I feel like that last paragraph, coupled with that last sentence, is just genius level writing from Brendan.
Yeah, no doubt. Like Ubisoft
It's
just like another company
yeah.
what we're going to talk about shortly. They are literally sticking their heads into the sand, and they're trying to avoid this as much as they can, and they just want people to talk about their games and everything, even if the games are just basic games or whatever.
Whatever, regardless, like set aside whatever the games are, like good, bad, indifferent. Like
yeah.
it's just like
But sadly, it's working. That's the thing about it.
It's working.
That's the thing about it. But hopefully, like great journalists like Brendan Sinclair and others out there will keep poking. Keep poking Ubisoft as many times as they can. To keep asking what's happening here. Are you actually figuring it out and getting your crap sorted and getting it together and everything? Because like Ubisoft, man, I've said it. I think I've said it every episode of the last 5 weeks. You are a rich company of amazing talent with some terrible people in there, but you're a company that we want to talk about in a good light. We want to talk about your games, even if we don't enjoy the games sometimes. Like but we want to talk about them. Like we have skipped a couple of games because of your crap, because we feel morally that we need to, because no one else is going to. Even though we are a nothing podcast, we're a small podcast, and everything like that. And I love the people who listen to us and everything, but like Ubisoft, you gotta do better, man. It's like seriously, and like we've said it, I'll say the same. I'll talk about the other one as well. It starts from the top, and as long as the people who are in charge are still there, this ain't gonna change. And that's the terrible realization of this, and it's really crappy. But we also knew about that. We knew it. Like they weren't going to step down. They don't feel like they've done anything wrong. They feel like they can just stick their heads in the sand, like I said, and
they can get away with it, and they can. Like that's the thing. Like they feel like they can get away with it because they can. Like they've sent out this email to all the employees because of the stories that keep coming out. Because employees are anonymously coming forward to journalists as they should do in a situation such as this. But the company has come out and sent them an email to say, like, no, you shouldn't do that. If a journalist contacts you, just refer them to us. But then when Brendan writes an article like this at gamesindustry.biz, and then asks Ubisoft for a comment, Ubisoft don't give them a comment. So it's like, okay, but like you're only doing that so that you don't have to say anything and then hope that it'll all blow over. The other thing I would say is journalists contacting the game devs, sure, but wouldn't be surprised if the majority of these stories that we've been reading about Ubisoft and other companies, it's the game devs contacting the journalists.
Yeah, I think there's more and more coming out these days. So
because like, and if Ubisoft we're given yet more evidence from yet more employees inside one of these companies that like the company isn't listening. So, but these journalists are listening. So if I talk to these journalists, they will tell the story.
Yeah,
and hopefully it doesn't fall on deaf ears. But I mean, it seems to be.
It's been falling on deaf ears since the 28th of July when 1,000 current and former Ubisoft employees signed an open letter in solidarity with their Activision and Blizzard brothers and sisters and everyone else who walked out to demanding that their own management take far more action to end the abuse at that place, and they're not doing it. And it's disgusting. And when you've got things like that, it just really just sucks the energy out of you, and it's just like, oh, come on, man. But like we say, we'll keep on talking about this because it's something that's not going to go away and should not be ignored, unlike other places, sites do. No.
Yeah, I mean, they said in a fit of justified anger, let's call it, on a podcast at some point in 2021, which was just like, if I need to keep talking about this and putting it at the top of every single podcast, I will do exactly that. Like, if I have to put this as the headline at the top, if people are sick of hearing me talk about it, I don't care. Like, because like the mistreatment of people who are making the art that I love is wrong, and I don't want that. I don't want that to be the case. And if I can even in some tiny small way just keep the ball rolling to try and make things better, even in the tiniest little of ways, I'm putting my hand right in front of my right hand light, but in the tiniest small of ways, like, I'll do that.
Yeah.
That segue would normally be where we do our segment we've been doing for a couple of months now, where the A Better Ubisoft Twitter account has spent the last couple of months posting tweets of the reasons people have signed the open letter on July 28th to Ubisoft and why they did it, but they're not doing that anymore. Or at least they haven't done it. They didn't do it for the past week. They've tweeted stuff out, and they retweeted the Kotaku article and the quotes from the Kotaku article. But they didn't do that part. So there's no tweets for me to read, basically. And I don't know whether they've reached the end of everything that they had, because they were going to run out eventually, I suppose, or whether it's something they've paused because of the Kotaku article and we'll keep going back to you next week. But just in case anyone was wondering why this was missing from the episode, it's not there, which is cool. You should still follow at A Better Ubisoft. You should still retweet all the stuff. You should still follow a bunch of awesome people, and you should still keep talking about it because it deserves to be continually talked about until it's fixed.
Yeah. Like I say, the less we talk about it, the more Ubisoft get away with this, and that's just criminal in itself.
If only it was criminal, Moody. Speaking of criminals, Activision Blizzard is still uninterested in how employees feel. This is from Rhiannon Bevan over at The Gamer, alleged criminals, who writes, in a desperate attempt to repair its image over the past week, Activision Blizzard has done an interview, issued a statement, and even changed the name of an Overwatch character in a bid to shake its reputation. However, according to a new report, the company has done everything except actually address staff concerns. Employees, both on and off the record, have spoken to PC Gamer about their complaints. One of the most pressing issues is that the same higher-ups who dismissed the allegations, namely CCO Fran Townsend, are still in charge. Quote, the fact that she's still in charge of overseeing improvements in this area makes me have very little belief in whatever she wants to tell us, end quote. That was from one anonymous employee. Another revealed that the team is still waiting for the demands made during the strike to be met. This is despite Townsend saying that CEO Bobby Kotick has given her a blank check in dealing with the abuse allegations. These demands include scrapping mandatory arbitration, meaning disputes in the workplace cannot be settled in court. Townsend's latest statements were made in a Financial Times interview. Her comments were a far cry from her initial response to the allegations, in which she labelled them, quote, distorted and untrue, end quote, and even blocked staff on Twitter for complaining. Instead, she told the newspaper, quote, it doesn't matter what your rank is, what your job is, if you've committed some sort of misconduct or you're a leader who has tolerated a culture that is not consistent with our values, we're going to take action, end quote. Townsend's comments did... Yeah.
I'm going to say then you need to go to yourself and...
Yeah, I was going to say, what about you? Townsend's comments did not sit well with senior test analyst at Blizzard, Jessica Gonzalez, who told PC Gamer, quote, while it's nice to see harassers leave the company, a lot of things are still left unaddressed. This Financial Times interview from Francis behind a paywall just screams shareholder appeasement and nothing more, end quote. While it isn't all negative, the sources do say that they have faith in their direct leadership. Management is still labelled uninterested in addressing concerns. This would track with recent news that the company is hoping to make a relatively small payout to end one of the lawsuits it's facing, a move that a union is trying to block. Yeah, that sentence is redundant. It's redundantly ridiculous. It's like, oh, if you're a leader who has tolerated a culture that is not consistent with our values, you are, Francis Townsend. You are a leader who tolerated that environment. And so is Bobby Kotick. And so is most of the executives who definitely knew about this, who still work at Activision Blizzard. Just because Jalen Brack and a few other executives left, doesn't mean this is all over.
I think we are leading to probably another walkout soon with Activision. I can see the staff walking out again soon.
Yeah.
And the best for me, I'm just going to say this right now, if you guys are planning it, best time to plan it is probably when Call of Duty is about to come out. Because that game, like
launched it.
Is launched it. Drop it then. Come out then, because get mixed messaging, because people will want to see the reviews, but also the sites will be talking about this as well.
There'll be a ton of streams of Call of Duty Vanguard on launch day. There'll be a ton of the reviews will be dropping, like people will be posting the news, but then it's like, okay, but there'll be the socially conscious who will be like, well, there's a walkout too. Yeah. So you'll see places like Kotaku, like as much as I have issues with Kotaku and some of the things they've done in the recent past, like, you know, they do cover stuff. Places like PC Gamer, places like The Gamer, like there will be places that will latch onto that walkout, and I think that would, like, I think you could do a walkout on any other day and you'd get more attention because COD hadn't just released that day, but like I don't know whether like you could get some pretty big impact if it's coming out because it's the day everybody's going to be searching for COD, for Call of Duty, and like when they do that, they'll find the stuff, they'll find the streams, they'll find the news articles, and they'll find the reviews, but they'll also find the walkout. They'll find the lawsuits.
Yeah.
And that could potentially be like quite big in getting more people aware of this, what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's something that I think I'm not speaking to anyone on there, so I can't comment on them, but I will be very surprised if they haven't talked about having another walkout or anything like that. And like, what's Activision going to do here at the end of the day? Because if they did, like, just theoretically, they say they do a walkout on the day Call of Duty releases, and Call of Duty say right now, we've just going off on what we've heard from like people who have played it, it's a buggy mess. It is a really bad buggy mess right now. And if they released it and then like they have terrible servers and everything like that, they ain't gonna have the staff there to do it. Like the staff won't be there to do the emergency patches to get it done as fast as possible, to get the game back up really fast. They won't have anyone to do it, and that'll hurt them. That's how you do it. You hurt them where it only matters to them, and that's the wallet. Because at the end of the day, if people see this, people will ask for their money back. Yeah. It's how it is.
Because that's always been a thing. Sorry. That's always been a thing with Call of Duty, because I've played Call of Duty year in, year out for a long time. And a couple of times in the last few years, I've played a Call of Duty game which is pretty busted up, when it's come out at launch. But one of the things we've always been able to say, we being like people who play it, game critics, stuff like that, is like it's busted up, but they're really fast at fixing it. Like I remember Call of Duty Black Ops 3, I played that on launch day, and I got some really funny screenshots because like there was like texture problems and like there was all sorts of like bugs and issues. But like by the time I sat back down to play it again, I think on the Sunday, like 2 days after it had come out, it was fixed. Like a majority of the issues that I was having were fixed. So like if that didn't happen, right? Like let's say Call of Duty Vanguard came out and it was busted up, because you gotta remember is like Call of Duty is dealing in terms of like the franchise and the development team. Like we saw the problems they were having last year, where one of the games in development was cancelled, and then another one was, and then all of the other Call of Duty games were moved up. So you're already dealing with a shorter development time anyway. And we always thought, like when we were talking about Call of Duty last year, that this game this year was going to be the one that was going to have the biggest impact in terms of a shortened development cycle. So to hear people playing the betas and the tests and find out that it's not running great and it's not working great, isn't a surprise to me. Like considering what we heard last year.
The rinse and repeat and forcing of transferring back to another team to crunch basically for an entire year to try and get this game in some working state was always going to catch up on them. And on top of that, you got all these accusations and everything, and it's just like, now's the time. And I'll say this for people that use Ubisoft as well. If you want to hurt them, you gotta stage something. You gotta. It's the only way you're going to be able to hurt them. And like, I don't think Ubisoft have a game coming out now until next year. Now I think they're done for the year.
I actually don't know anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't know either. Like, say, I'm only like I believe, like I think it was like they had Five Guys 6, and then it was they had they had that bike game, don't they?
It'll be it'll probably be Rainbow Six, right? Because that was delayed.
I think that's been pushed to next year, isn't it?
Early next year.
Yeah, they've got nothing until next year now, off the top of my head. So, like, if you want to hurt them, do it when. Like, I think Activision, Ubisoft, the employees, you need to come together here and like work together and like plan something. Maybe, I don't know, like, because they aren't listening. They aren't, and I hate that. It's like I said about Ubisoft, Activision, Blizzard have a rich history in video games. We may not always like them or anything like that, and they may do for the most part, for me, generic, samey games that's just the same thing, rinse and repeat. But how it works for them, that's how they want to do their business. I have no problem with that. But treat your staff right. That's all I care about. You can do the same games. I have no problem about that. But just treat your staff right. That's the basic minimum. Treat your goddamn staff right, and you can't even do that properly, and everything. Pay them right and everything. But my God, like, something has to happen. And like for me, like I said weeks ago, like this is the time where Bobby Kotick knows, and so does, I can't remember his name, the CEO of Ubisoft. They know they don't have as much power as they think they do. They know if their teams walk out, they are screwed. They wouldn't be able to get them replaced in time to finish whatever game is to come out.
Yeah, well, we've seen this on the flip side, right? Where it's like Crystal Dynamics have been brought in to help the initiative make Perfect Dark because Microsoft was having trouble staffing up.
Yeah. So to help them up, because they obviously that team's doing 2 games, not 1, and everything. So to help them, they've merged with another team to help out and everything, which is perfectly fine. I have no problem with that. Like we've discussed it. It's fantastic. Help each other out. They're all willing to do that, which is great. And obviously the connection, for the head of that studio who used to work at Square Enix, obviously, or Crystal Dynamics, obviously helped. But yeah, like developers have more power than I think they truly realize. At least in these AAA spaces, and they need to use that power. You are human beings who have rights here. And you have the right to be treated like a goddamn human being, for God's sakes. Activision and Ubisoft, just bloody do better, man. Come on. You can throw out the same type of game all you want every game. If that's how you make your money, that's fine. But treat your goddamn staff fine. Just treat them right. You wouldn't hear anything from you or me, though. That's the thing about it. We would say, the games are for me. Yeah. That's fine. I celebrate the people who like their games. I celebrate the people who have enjoyed Far Cry 6. But
oh yeah,
treat your staff right, for God's sake.
Like knowing some of the people who, because obviously, like, you know, I've collected a lot of people on Twitter from the game industry.
Yeah.
Like, as I've been following people and stuff, and like knowing some of the people who work on who have been working on Call of Duty Vanguard, it's like I'm pleased as to use a phrase from the 1960s. I'm pleased as punch for them. Like, I'm so happy that they've gotten to work with this massive game and like tell their stories and do their thing, whatever it is that they've brought to this game. But like at the same time, it's like, can we not have both? Can we not have people being treated like human beings at these giant corporations, and then, you know, we can all celebrate these cool people who are working on these cool games, instead of celebrating these cool people who work on these cool games, but then saying, but all of this shit's happening as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's absolute crap, especially with the amount of money both companies make. It's a simple fix. That's how scary it is. That's how simple it is. The amount of money both these companies make, their thing is a real simple fix. You get rid of the trashy people and hire in good people, or promote good people and bring in new staff and give and everything. You know, it's. I know I'm sounding like it's simple. I know it's not.
It kind of is. Because if you go to Activision Blizzard, if you go to Activision Blizzard and you just ripped out the executive management level, Bobby Kotick, Francis Townsend, all the other people, right? Like, what would fundamentally change about Activision Blizzard, right? Like, if you brought in people who genuinely, and like, this is an important step, bringing in people who genuinely wanted to make sure that people would treat right, and like none of this abuse happened again. But what would fundamentally change? Like, okay, Call of Duty is still going to come out every year.
Yeah.
You're still going to make billions on Call of Duty, because all the people who make the Call of Duty games, for the most part, like 99% of the people who make the Call of Duty games will still be working at the studio. So, like, what's the difference? What's the difference if Bobby Kotick is running your company or somebody who's not a subhuman piece of garbage? Like, what's the difference?
It's crazy to me that Ubisoft and Activision had, like, they've done that years ago. They were just doing what we were just talked about right now. Throughout the same type of games you want to do, making money, that's fine with us. But EA were the ones who were always getting the flack all the time. Rightly, I don't deny, like, with the crunch on the developments, the bad management, the loot box situation, which is still going on for them and everything, and we'll always harp on with them about that when the next thing comes up and everything. But EA are in the background now, just like, we're throwing out our samey games and we're making mint, and nobody's talking about us. And we flipping love it right now. Yeah. They're literally loving it, EA. And they're like, hey, we're good. We've had a quiet year and everything like that. And I won't lie, we want them to have a quiet year. We just want them to just look after your staff and everything.
If the top story of this podcast could possibly have been, you know, Xbox wanting to buy more studios, that would have been tremendous. But unfortunately, that's not the case, because the games industry is a garbage fire.
Yeah. And speaking of the garbage fire, on our next story, which is coming up, but I'll just finish off.
Yeah, go for it.
Ubisoft, Activision Blizzard, you know what you need to do. This is to the staff. You know what you need to do. Do it. You have more power than they have. They need you more than you need them. Oh no, let me rephrase that. They need you just as much as you need them for them to pay you, obviously. But nah, got more power. Use that power.
Finish them.
Yeah. Get over here and finish them.
Get over here. And then just rip. No, I better not. I better stop that right there, because that could get us in trouble. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
Abandoned.
You talk, I'm just going to open my window.
Abandoned developers beg people to please stop sending death threats. This is from Imran Khan over at Foundbyte, who writes, it feels like a long time ago that Blue Box Game Studios, the developers of upcoming PlayStation 5 horror game Abandoned, became embroiled in an entirely made-up conspiracy about being a secret Silent Hill game led by local crazy man Hideo Kojima. After repeated denials and then hints toward the conspiracy and then further denials, the ebb and flow of the theory more or less waned to a thin line of ridiculous Don Quixote-style believers left, and the overall conversation about it stopped. But those believers didn't go away just because people stopped talking about it. According to Blue Box, they've only gotten worse. In a tweet posted last night that disallowed replies, Blue Box wrote, quote, "The following message is not addressed as a company, but as a group of human beings. The last few days have been difficult. Death threats are increasing online, but unfortunately also physically, and this has to stop," end quote. The letter continues on in this vein, explaining that current employees have received death threats, but that it's also a concern for future recruiting as well. Blue Box also acknowledges that they had a hand in the creation of this negative situation, but they do not understand how this escalated to death threats. It's unclear what prompted, as much as anything can prompt, these death threats. Recent reporting suggests Kojima is working on a new Silent Hill game, which may have pushed some people to yell at Blue Box again, but honestly, who knows? The kinds of people that send death threats over video games aren't governed by logic, really. Yeah, so... there's still a situation with Blue Box games and Abandoned. It's just... It's been frustrating to watch. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of so the situation itself. There's been a lot of failures from my point of view. Like, having seen this whole thing develop from this cool spooky new game that's been shown on the PlayStation blog to maybe it's a secret Silent Hill game made by Hideo Kojima to now to where we are now, and like Blue Box lent into the whole. Maybe it's a secret Silent Hill game thing. He did that. There was also some incredibly irresponsible journalism done by a couple of very prominent journalists who kind of fueled that fire in terms of maybe it is a secret Silent Hill game when anyone with like two brain cells rubbed together could look at it and go, no, it's not. Why would they do that? That's ridiculous. These people are real people. That's not Kojima in a mask. However, all of that being said, like the irresponsible journalism and the development studio that kind of fueled it a bit, like none of that like justifies harassment. Never mind death threats. Like what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, all of that goes right out of the window when you overstep a mark with a death threat. I don't care who you are. You may be excited for this game, or you think you have delved into it, analyzed it so much that you think you are truly right when you are not even a part of the situation that's developing. That's part of the team that is developing this goddamn game.
Yeah,
like seriously, this is horrendous. Like I don't care who you are, you can be excited for this game, but just stop. This is where fandom goes too far. Goes too far. Like I say, you can analyze it to death and all you want, but as soon as you cross that line of a death threat, sending people death threats, sending a team death threats, you do not deserve to even play this game.
like
I'll say that right now.
Over what? Like over the fact that Abandoned isn't a Silent Hill game made by Hideo Kojima? Like, okay, like
why is that important?
Even if that was a legitimate thing at one point, where it was like, this seems legit, this might be I can understand you being disappointed that it turns out that that's not the case, but not to the point where you send in a development team death threats and harassment and constantly harassing them on Twitter and other social medias. Like, there's a tipping point, right?
Yes.
Like, I wish we could have all had fun. Like with this whole situation, because like Kojima has done similar stuff like this in the past, and I wish we could have all had fun with it. But we saw exactly where it was going the minute it happened, and I fucking hate it. I hate. I'm not gonna paint with as broad a brush as I was just about to. I hate the type of people that send these that have this mindset, like. You're using the time that you have on this earth to threaten game developers.
Yeah.
That's your mindset. Disgusting.
Yeah. There's something wrong with you, and you need to seek help, and I'm asking you right now, go and seek fucking help right now. It's just it is like what Amy's already said, the whole situation. Pull all that out even more. It is just a fucking video game. A game for you to be entertained by. You're allowed to critique it and say, this game didn't work for me type of thing. Or I love this game, this is fantastic.
Yeah, like I didn't like the look of this trailer, or this trailer is not speaking to me. Or actually, I've looked at the trailer and this is wrong and that's wrong and stuff like that. But like, you don't cross a line. You don't make it personal. You should never ever make it personal. And then there's a line beyond that, which is doing this.
Yeah, and it's now just stop. No, it's done. Just stop. And I feel for the developers so much in here. Yes, they might have stoked the fire a little bit themselves, but I'm not gonna lie, on their behalf, they probably were just like, we're getting attention. This is awesome. We're excited. We're getting attention here. And yeah, okay, maybe they've done things. They maybe sparked a little bit of the fire, a little bit, but it doesn't mean you send them death threats to people. Come on, it's like it's now beyond this. It's now beyond this. You've turned something that people are excited to, and to make the developers. If we hear further down the line in the next 6 months, they've cancelled this game altogether to start a new game, you would have deserved that. You would have deserved that. But then I worry about the developer, because this is probably a game they're banking on them to make bank a little bit for them to obviously cover their next game they want to make. So just stop it, man.
Yeah.
Fanboyism, fan peopleism, I don't really care. It's just enough. You're allowed to critique. You're allowed to get excited. You're allowed to even be worried about it. But Jesus, when you cross a line, you overstep a mark.
True. And on a completely unrelated note to any of this whatsoever, if I hear the words Kojima and Silent Hill in a sentence again, I'm going to burn this room to the ground.
Please don't do that. I kind of like it.
I've had enough of hearing those words together at this point. I'm not going to lie.
Until Jeff Keighley reveals the game at the Game Awards.
The only acceptable time to hear those words is when it's literally being revealed right in front of my face. If I hear another rumor, Kojima might be working on Silent Hills, Moody, just call the fire. Just call the fire brigade. You've got my address.
That's true.
God, and yeah, to everybody sending death threats, don't, you're pathetic. Stop it. Go do something positive with your time. Go enjoy your life. Stop making your entire life about trying to ruin other people's lives. I promise you it's not worth it. I promise you life will be better if you just take the time to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And stop trying to tear other people to the ground. And as Moody said, get help, because you clearly need it. And I'm not saying that to be mean, and I'm not saying that to be negative or judgmental. As somebody who is in counseling, it really helps. Trust me. It's worth it. Go do it.
Yep.
That is my plea to you, in earnest. Anyway. Shall we?
Shall we? We shall.
We shall. Phil Spencer says Xbox is not done acquiring game studios. This is from Jeffrey Resolver at gamesindustry.biz, who writes today. Probably not today, but Xbox head Phil Spencer said that the company isn't done acquiring game studios in an interview with the Wall Street Journal about the state of Xbox game studios. Quote, that sentence doesn't make any sense. So we're always looking for people who we think would be a good match and teams that would be a good match with our strategy. So we're definitely not done, end quote. While Xbox Game Studios currently has 23 development studios, fuck, that's amazing. While Xbox Game Studios has 23 development studios, Spencer notes there is no set number or time period for the additions. Quote, there's no quota, there's no kind of timeline where I have to go acquire studios by a certain time. But if we find a studio where we have a good fit, we share what we're trying to go do and what they're trying to go do, and if we feel we can both get better together, absolutely. If you look at some of the people we've acquired and partnered with, it's people we've had long-term relationships with, and they've come inside of Xbox now, and they see our roadmap on platform and service, and I want them to be able to do their most amazing creative work as part of this team, end quote. 23 development studios. When we started the last generation, me and Keith did a podcast, like quite close to the beginning of the last gen, where it was like, where we said, like, the big thing Xbox needs is exclusives, but nobody's going to make them because they only had like 9 studios. You got 23 development studios, and all of those studios appear to be making multiple games.
Yep. So they're gonna double this by buying Sony.
Just fuck it. We've had enough of this fucking fanboy console war bullshit. We just bought PlayStation.
Yeah, basically, yeah. We're just gonna buy it. Get it out the way. Do it. No, yeah, of course they are. Of course they are. They know they can. Could it be a bad thing? I'm not really sure because you're taking away a lot of individual studios, but at the same time, they got the backing and the financial stability thanks to Microsoft. So it's like I see where people are saying, "Oh no, they're gobbling people up," but at the same time, I'm like, there's probably 2 or 3 studios that they've now bought that are probably still around today because they bought them.
Yeah, right. It's like
and everything.
So like I imagine like the one I always think to is Double Fine, which is like that's a team that makes very niche games, right?
Yeah.
And like having followed the games industry for like more than a decade at this point, like properly followed the games industry itself for more than a decade. It's like Double Fine was always felt like they were balanced on the edge of a knife in terms of getting their next game funded, right? Like they had some missteps, but it felt like they were living game to game. So like the Microsoft acquisition is basically like in my mind the Microsoft acquisition, as long as like Phil Spencer's vision is to what he set out is true, and I have no reason to believe that it's not based on everything that they've done over the past few years, is great for Double Fine because it means they get to continue making these cool niche games like Psychonauts 2, one of the in fact, I think it's the best currently rated game on OpenCritic for 2021. Like, but without the worry of where's the money going to come from. The money is going to come from Microsoft. They're a Microsoft-owned studio. Yeah, sure, it kind of sucks that means their games aren't going to be on PlayStation for people who are in the PlayStation ecosystem, but it means the games are going to exist. And it means the best versions of those games are going to exist because they don't have to worry about raising money. They don't have to worry about doing contract work or doing side projects to get the money to make, say, Psychonauts 3 or whatever the next project that they want to make is. And I think that's cool as fuck. Like, for the studios that they've been buying up, I think that's great. Like, they've bought some studios that I love. I love In Exile. I love the Wasteland series. Obsidian, one of my favorite developers. Like, they made Fallout New Vegas, for fuck's sake. Like, it's cool to see these studios now have a bigger level of backing. And like Microsoft have been doing a lot of cool shit in the last few years. Actually legitimate cool shit. So like, yeah, it's that marriage of things that Phil was talking about in this interview.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, wasn't it like last week or 2 weeks ago that we talked about Sony saying we're not done buying either?
Well, I feel like that's the default. The default. If someone says, "Are you going to buy more studios?" to like Phil Spencer or who's in charge of Sony these days? Is it Jim Ryan?
I'm Ryan.
Yeah, if someone says that to either of them, they're obviously going to say, "Yeah, we're not done." They might be done, but they're never going to say they're done.
Yeah, that is true. No doubt about it.
But like, it's cool. Like, yeah, it's cool the way like so PlayStation's strategy is to basically like work with the studio, and then if they do well together, they buy them. And Microsoft's system seems to be taking studios with buy everybody. Like taking
just buy them.
like well, they like their pattern of like purchasing studios has been really fascinating to watch, because like when you think about the studios that they've been making, the Obsidians, the NXLs, the Double Fines, even Bethesda to a degree, like if you discount like the Fallouts and the Skyrims or the Elder Scrolls games, it's like even Bethesda, where it's like they have studios like Arcane and Tango, where it's just like they've been bringing studios in who don't make the big headline blockbuster games. Like, they make niche things. They make things that are for specific target audiences, right? Like Deathloop. Like, for example, even though I know it's a PlayStation exclusive, that's just the kind of stuff that Arcane makes. It's like, it's not for everyone. Like, it's for a specific type of player. Like, Obsidian's RPGs are for a specific type of player.
I agree, yeah. No doubt about
so
that.
that's what makes Xbox's acquisitions fascinating, because we see all these companies being thrown around, right? And it's just like I don't think Microsoft would ever buy a Ubisoft, for example, just to throw out like someone who makes like super popular generic games. I don't see Microsoft ever making that acquisition because I don't think the cost would, like, in their mind, in the way they're building Xbox as a platform, I don't think the cost would outweigh the benefit. The benefit would outweigh the cost. I said that backwards, sorry.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Although if they did buy Ubisoft, they could get rid of all the shit managers and actually make it a decent place to work. But hey ho. That's the thesis. Speaking of Xbox, we're going to stick with Xbox. Xbox Game Pass subscriber growth falls short of Microsoft targets. This is from Chris Kerr over at Game Developer, who writes, Xbox Game Pass subscriber growth has fallen behind Microsoft's internal expectations. According to a new financial filing spotted by Axios, the number of Xbox Game Pass subscribers increased by 37% during the 12 months ended June 30th, 2021, but the company had hoped to see growth of 48%. It's unclear what these growth figures mean in terms of actual subscribers, although we do know Xbox Game Pass had topped 18 million subscribers at the start of the year. Talking about that milestone back in January, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said consumers recognize the value of, quote, a broader ecosystem, end quote, allowing the company to increase its console share. The chief exec also touted Xbox Game Pass as a major revenue driver and explained the entire Xbox Live ecosystem was attracting over 100 million active users each month. It doesn't surprise me that Game Pass has slowed down. Like, we talked about record growth last year, but last year was the year everybody was locked in their houses for months.
That's when the world ended.
Yeah, the world ended last year. Like,
yeah. It's not a surprise whatsoever. I think Game Pass is still, I think, a question mark for a lot of people at the same time. Like, like we've said on many occasions, like, if we had this in our youth, it'll be the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, it still is.
Yeah,
like Unsighted. Unsighted, I would never have played it if I had never seen it was in Game Pass and just downloaded it on a whim.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think it's like, but they've also mentioned it on many occasions. Like, this is a thing that's all long term for them. Yes, would they've been happy? Would have been over the moon if it hit the 48% that they were aiming for. But at the end of the same time, like,
it's grown.
They're still.
It's not like it's shrunk.
Yeah. If they topped 18 million subscribers at the start of the year, I'd be very surprised if they're not over 20 million by now. They might even be close to 25. Who knows? Which is still a good growth spurt and everything, especially as you've got an Xbox One that didn't sell great, and then you've got the new console Series X and S, which is to what we know is selling relatively good.
Relatively good, yeah, it's selling well.
So the more and more they get out there, we'll see the number go up and everything, I think. So it's eventually going to hit the mark where they're obviously going to be incredibly happy about. So,
well, it's also like Xbox is still pivoting towards Game Pass as like their main product, right? It's not about selling an Xbox Series console and getting people to subscribe to Game Pass on that console so much as it is like letting people know that they can turn anything into an Xbox console. Like, at this point, like, your phone can be an Xbox console, your PC can be an Xbox console, your laptop. Like, we've been talking about it for a while. Like, we're waiting for them to drop like a Chromecast style dongle that people can plug into their TVs to turn that into an Xbox console. And the other thing about this growth is it's still growth. It's not as much growth as they want, but like, it's the year ending June 30th, 2021. So between August 1st, 2020 and June 30th, 2021, what games came out? Like, what Xbox studio games came out in that year?
Between that time?
Yeah, between that time. Like, there's been great games added to Game Pass, no doubt about it. But
the only one off the top of my head is Phasmophobia. The sequel. The Bug sequel. I can't remember its name. Psychonauts 2.
Psychonauts 2. Yeah,
that's the only one. Like I said, that game, they're real games, quote unquote. Why did I say real games? Their next few games are coming out now. Like,
this
you've
is
got
what
Age
I'm saying.
of Empires 4 coming out. You've got Forza next month, and in December you've got Halo.
Like, there's been some awesome games that have come out in Game Pass, right? In terms of like indie games, in terms of like really critically acclaimed games. I mean, Among Us is coming out soon, and it's already out on PC, I believe, on Game Pass for PC. But you're not going to see a massive growth spurt because there hasn't been like those marquees to come out. But if you think from now, where we're sitting right now, October 25th, 2021 to the end of 2022, by that point, December 31st, 2022, Halo Infinite will be out on Game Pass. Forza Horizon 5 will be out on Game Pass. It's very likely that Forza Motorsport 8 will be out on Game Pass. Starfield will be out on Game Pass. Redfall will be out on Game Pass. You can bet your fucking bottom dollar Deathloop will be back on Xbox, and that'll be out in Game Pass. Like, they've got a lot of huge Xbox Game Studio games coming within the next 12 months. And then once you get to that point and you've got all these games that are on Game Pass that you're looking back at, and then you're looking forward to 2023, that's when you can start saying potentially Perfect Dark might be there, Fable might be there, and then Gears of War might be there. Like, all of this cool stuff, Avowed, Hellblade, all of this cool stuff might be made by Xbox Game Studios. Like, it's a long-term game for them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, it's long term. This is not a short term and like that. The only time, if anyone's thinking that, oh no, this might go away and like that, the only way this goes away is if Phil Spencer gets fired, and that tells me then they're going to pivot somewhere else. But Phil Spencer, I think what we're all hearing, is doing a great job. We've seen he's doing a great job. He's brought them around and made Xbox more positive, which we've all wanted to see. And that's all that matters and everything. When you hear it, when we're now bitching about Jim Ryan and not Phil Spencer, that's a good thing. For Xbox. When Jim Ryan, we think, oh no, we don't like you, but Phil Spencer, oh yes, you're awesome.
I mean, we've had love hearts in our eyes for Phil Spencer for a long time.
Yeah, like, I think we all fell in love with him when he had to reveal the price for the Xbox One, and you just look at him and he's just like, oh, that poor man.
No.
You heard the audible groan, and you're just
God.
like, oh god,
Not like this.
not like
Not
this.
like
And then everyone was like, he took that like a champ. We're promoting him.
This is a guy who should be in charge, and you know what? They were fucking right.
Yeah, and that's all that matters. Like, yo, Xbox State of Course, you're doing a great job. Like, I get my Xbox Series X in like 4 weeks' time, which I'm super excited for. So
Game Pass is legitimately legitimately making me, and I'm a PS5 owner. Game Pass is legitimately making me play on my Xbox more than my PS5.
Yeah.
That's just the facts. Like we're talking about at the beginning of the podcast, how we've pivoted to streaming more. Like, in the few weeks that I've been doing that, like, I've spent the majority of my time streaming Back 4 Blood, which is on Game Pass, and Unsighted, which is on Game Pass. Like, Game Pass is legit. Like, once you figure it out, right? Like, I was talking to Phil. I offered Phil my Xbox One when I got the One X. And he said no. And I said, why not? Because it's a free console. Oh, we don't want too many consoles. Fast forward to a conversation I was having, because he's a very casual gamer. Fast forward to a conversation I was having with him not that long ago, where we were talking about Game Pass, and I showed him it because I got the app on my phone, and I showed him all the games you could get, and he was like, damn, that would be awesome. And I was like, it would be, right? Like, why didn't you take my Xbox? You could have this. you just get to download games and play them, like, for a monthly fee or a yearly fee or whatever. Oh, I probably should have done that then. It's like, once someone gets it and it clicks with them, like, what Game Pass is and what they can get out of it, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, for some reason, I think the casuals don't really know about this very well. I think, like, the casual, like, families and everything don't really understand it very much. For some reason, like, it's the simplest thing. It's games for Netflix.
Yeah, it's Netflix for games. Xbox have their own games that they release on the service that will never go away, but then it's also a curated list of games, and you pay a monthly fee and you get access to those games to download on your console.
Yeah,
that's it. You can pre-install games on it now. It's fantastic. I've got Forza Horizon 5 ready to go.
Amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Halo Infinite. I'm taking Halo Day off so I can just stream Halo all day. And I don't have to worry about it because, one, the multiplayer is free to play, but also two, the campaign is going to be in Game Pass, so I don't need to worry about where the game's coming from.
Exactly.
It'll be there on my console, ready to go. That's fucking awesome.
Yes.
And how much did I pay for it? How much is Game Pass? Like, you know what I mean? $10.99 a month. Wild. But yeah, it's like, I read a funny tweet someone put out where it's like, it's hard to talk about game. it's hard to talk about Game Pass without sounding like a Microsoft shill, and I agree it is, because Game Pass is such an absurdly good thing. It's difficult not to just sound like you're shilling for Microsoft, but at the same time, it's just like, look, these are just the facts I'm laying out. If that sounds like I'm shilling, that should tell you how good Game Pass is.
Exactly.
All right, we've got an NPD September breakdown, Moody. And I have the top 15 best-selling games of September. Normally, we only do the top 10, but there were so many new releases that all came out in the top 15. We're doing the top 15 best-selling games of September. At number 1, Madden NFL 22. At number 2, FIFA 22. At number 3, NBA 2K22. At number 4, Tales of Arise. Number 5, Diablo 2 Resurrected. Number 6, Deathloop. Number 7, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Number 8, Ghost of Tsushima. Number 9, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 10, Life is Strange True Colors. Number 11, Mario Kart 8. Number 12, Diablo Prime Evil Collection. Number 13, Sonic Colors Ultimate. Number 14, Minecraft. And number 15, WarioWare Get It Together. Lots of new entries for a change.
Congratulations to the 13 games out, no, 12 games out there. You all deserve it, and you all all amazing.
Nice.
Life is Strange, True Colors. Why are you not higher? But no, I'm really happy that you're at least in the top 15, at least top 10 even.
Yeah,
I'm so happy about that. Like, it's my favorite game of the year. Everyone knows that. I was so happy to see that and everything, but it's bonkers. It's not bonkers, but bloody hell, 3 sports titles right at the top.
Well, so I know
there's
some interesting things I wanted to talk about the makeup of this top 15. The first one is FIFA didn't outsell Madden, and it wasn't Madden's launch month. Madden launched last month, like the month before. So FIFA didn't manage to outsell Madden, which I found fascinating. There's an even more fascinating statistic when we get to the year-to-date games, but for right now, that is fascinating to me.
The NPD, that's for America.
It's for America, but FIFA usually hits. But Tales of Arise. Look at Tales of Arise.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's incredible. Amazing. I never would have thought to see it.
With all the love that you gave in that when it came to our review for that, which I think is one of our best reviews. Check it out, youtube.com/wordsaboutgames. It's a great review. I'm really happy to see that. It's really good. Like, it's clearly like people are missing a good chunky meaty JRPG, and they finally got it. Like, I know we had like Monster Hunter Rise, but that's only on one product at this time.
Yeah.
The Tales is on. Is it just PlayStation, or is it on for everything, like Xbox?
Tales, it's on Xbox as well.
Yeah, and PC, I believe, as well. So,
it's on PC. Yeah.
It's on more product compared to what.
It's on more platforms. Like Monster Hunter Rise is a Switch game.
Monster Hunter Rise is sold well either way, but Tales. I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, Deathloop at number 6 was cool, considering it's a time PlayStation exclusive. I love to see Life is Strange True Colors in the top 10. If you had put a gun to my head and said that WarioWare would get outsold by Sonic, like, I would not have believed that would have happened. Like, it's weird to see a Switch exclusive solo.
Isn't Sonic Colors Ultimate broken?
Yeah, it's fucked. Like, we were talking about it. I saw the Twitter videos and stuff. I showed you a bunch of them. But it's Sonic. Like, I expect Sonic to do decently well because it's Sonic, right? It's been around forever and loads of people love it. But like, it's just the way I think about, like, we see when a Switch exclusive game comes out, it rockets right up to the top of the charts, right? Because
it does,
Switch owners buy Switch exclusives. But like, I can't believe even WarioWare, never expected it to be near the top. Like, never. It's WarioWare. But like, I don't know, top 10 at least. Like, so I was a bit surprised when I saw how low WarioWare got. That surprised me.
I wasn't, personally. I don't think Wario is as big a character what I think people
I just like
make him out to be.
No, but like I'm just thinking like of the Nintendo published and developed games, like generally tend to do well no matter what.
Well, that's fair. I understand where you're coming from with that. I wasn't surprised that Deathloop was so high at all. And PlayStation, you get an exclusive. They're just like the Nintendo fans. They will support that bugger, even though they know it's an Xbox game.
Even though you boot it up and it comes up Xbox Game Studios.
Yeah, they won't. Deep down, even though you see some discourse online and everything like that. Deep down, they play the games and they enjoy them, and I'm so happy to see that for Deathloop. I know you enjoyed it for the most part. I know you had. Yeah,
I had a weird entry
experience with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and it's like, it's so funny to me that, like, if anyone didn't realize how much that Sony are gonna push out a Ghost of Tsushima sequel and a Miles Morales probably sequel eventually, it's happening if you like it or not. Because these are like have stayed in the top 10 for like since the PlayStation 5 came out.
Well, the thing about Miles Morales is, I honestly think, in terms of its story, and I loved Spider-Man 2018, but in terms of the story, I think Miles Morales was a stronger story with a stronger like cast of characters for me personally. So I'm really happy that it's just stuck around all year. And I was really happy when we got the PlayStation showcase and we saw that little glimpse of Spider-Man 2, which seems to show that like both Peter and Miles are going to be like co-protagonists, which if you remember when we reviewed Miles last year, that's what I said I wanted. I wanted them both to be like both the protagonists, because
it'd be so awesome if that's co-op, baby. Do it.
Didn't think of that. Yeah, that could be co-op. Do it. Let me and Moody play. Yeah. I mean, we'll have to fight over who wants to be Miles, but we'll figure it out.
No, we don't. I love Miles, but Pete Parker's my Spider-Man.
Oh, well, in that case, it's fine, because I want to be Miles anyway. So
yeah. Oh, I love Miles. There's no doubt about it. I've only started to love Miles. Thank you, Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse, best superhero film I've ever seen. Fight me, Internet.
I think it's one of the top. I agree with you. It's one of the top. There's no doubt about it. But no, yeah. Like, I didn't know much about Miles whatsoever, and like that movie made me love him.
That movie is incredible.
Then obviously when the Spider-Man game came out, and like you just
Miles was in it
as well.
God, he was so cool.
Yeah, and then you see it. Then he gets his own game, and you're just like, wow. They didn't just like everyone just thought no one thought we were going to get a Miles Morales game that early.
Yeah,
everyone was literally thinking he'll be in the sequel and he might do like the same thing what they did with Batman and Robin, like he teams up and they like do
he's there
and all like that,
but he's not really driving the game,
the story. And then no, they give him a full blown story.
Well,
absolutely amazing to see. And
I remember.
So powerful.
Yeah, I remember the PS5 showcase where they revealed it. And me and Keith were all watching it together, and I fucking lost my shit when I saw that.
Yeah, you went, oh, they are starting. I was like,
they are going for it. Jesus.
I remember that. That was a great show, and I won't lie. Like when Sony want to show stuff, they show it.
Yeah.
And like they started off strong with Miles Morales, and I was so happy to see that Miles got his own game, and I can't wait to see whatever they do with Spider-Man 2.
Me too. I'm super excited. For Spider-Man 2, like I loved it. I think it was the last open world game I enjoyed. Like Spider-Man.
Isn't Tales open world? Tales Arise?
Not really.
Wasn't
it's like connected maps.
Yakuza open world?
Oh yeah, like a dragon. Well, a bit. Wasn't massive. Wasn't like a massive open world. I don't know. I don't really think of it.
I don't think the Spider-Man Ralph game's as big.
I had this. Sorry, I wrote this exact paragraph in my control retrospective, if you remember, where I was like, "When was the last time I enjoyed an open world game?" And I was like, "Was Yakuza an open world game? Was this an open world game?"
Yeah.
Does that count?
Same conversation again. But no, yeah. Either way, yeah. So happy for 12 of these games.
Yeah, it's good. The top 10 best-selling games, it hasn't really changed. I'll read it anyway, but it hasn't. Number 1, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. 2, Madden NFL 22. 3, MLB The Show 21. 4, Resident Evil Village. 5, Super Mario 3D World. 6, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. 7, Mario Kart 8. 8, Minecraft. 9, Monster Hunter Rise. And 10, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Congratulations to 8 of those games on the best-selling year.
Like Madden went up. But that was about it.
Of course it was going. Yeah, of course it was. And I'll be very surprised by the end of the year that FIFA isn't there by the end.
Maybe. Love it. Resident Evil Village is still really high, and I think that's amazing.
I love that. Yeah,
I love that for that game.
Love that, yeah.
All right. There's some notes. I'll get through them. There's one fun. I like the last one. It's quite interesting. But we've got Tales of Arise set a new launch month dollar sales record for any Tales of franchise release. Looking at how fucking high it got on the table, I don't doubt it. A Tales game. I don't think I've ever seen a Tales game just go. up the sales chart before. Life is Strange 2 Crawlers launched as September's number 10 best-selling game. Life is Strange 2 Crawlers generated the highest launch month dollar sales for any Life is Strange title to date.
Hell yeah. Like, yeah, it deserves it. I think what helps that game so much is that it's all of it. It's a complete game.
Yeah, it's the full game.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, myself included, missed out on Life is Strange 2 because it was one of those things where it was like, I want it, like for me, I'm only speaking for me personally, but I feel like this is going to be the experience of a lot of people who haven't played the second game. Where I was like, I wanted to wait until the full season was out, but by the time the full season was out, I'd moved on to other things, and never really found the time to sort of get back to it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Life is Strange 2 Crawlers just being all in one thing meant I could just go, cool, download, play, enjoy.
Yeah, and like they learned their way with Tell Me Why last year, which obviously was like released 1 week, the first episode 1 week, the week after that, second episode the week after that was the third week, was the third episode and final episode. But here they just went, no, let's just have it episodic, but let's just throw it all out at the same time, and let's let players play it however they want it. And yeah, it's all the better for all that. Yeah.
You can have a game that's episodic, just don't release it episodically, because I feel like episodic games have had their moment at this point.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's viable.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, the moment is come and gone. Like, you can still do it, but I think you have to release it all at once now.
I think if you did it, where it was like, say, like you had like a month or 2 month gap between episodes, I don't think it would hit as much. I think it worked when it did for things like The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us, like back in like 2010, 2011 era of gaming, because there wasn't as many games coming out, so like you could anticipate the next episode of The Walking Dead, whereas now it's a constant deluge of really cool, really interesting, and really awesome games, where it's like, if you're telling me you have to wait 2 months to keep playing the next bit of the game, and then 2 months to keep playing the next bit of the game, like that's a lot of games that have come out that demand my attention.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just, I think the whole landscape has just changed too much for episodic games to really work now.
I agree.
Our other notes. WarioWare Get It Together debuted as the 15th overall best-selling game of September, while also ranking second on Switch. WarioWare Get It Together achieved the highest launch month sales for a WarioWare franchise release since WarioWare Smooth Moves in January 2007, which makes sense because WarioWare Smooth Moves came out on the Wii, one of the biggest consoles of all time.
Congratulations.
And lastly, PlayStation 5 was the best-selling hardware platform of September in both units and dollar sales. PlayStation 5 is the best-selling hardware platform of 2021 year-to-date in dollars, while Nintendo Switch leads in units. September 2021 snaps the remarkable 33 consecutive month streak that Nintendo Switch was the market's leading platform in hardware unit sales. November 2018 was the last month a platform other than Nintendo Switch led the market in unit sales, which was the PlayStation 4.
It was always going to happen eventually, but it's going to be very interesting to see what next month is. Obviously, with the release
the
of
OLED,
Nintendo. Yeah. So will Nintendo snatch it back, or will PlayStation 5 throw it out? Pull it out again. It's going to be interesting. I'll be very surprised if Nintendo aren't back on top again, but I think it's going to be tug of war now from the rest of the thing. Now I think PlayStation again are getting out there, getting enough units out in time where they're selling out now more and everything. Where the scalpers aren't making them all.
Yeah, well, the scalpers still count as sales.
Yeah, true. That's
unfortunately.
That's what PlayStation don't give a flying here.
Just before we move on from the NPD, I want to throw one thing down for next month's NPD. I think you're going to see a massive surge in Animal Crossing sales.
Probably, yeah, because the DLC.
I think that's gonna rock it back into the top 10 for October, since they did the direct. Because I'll be honest, I'm in that group. I've been legit thinking about, I could just get back into Animal Crossing, I think.
No. Nah.
I played like 200 hours of it, really. I kind of like that.
It worked for you, yeah. It just,
I'm just trying.
It was so slow and repetitive and boring.
I'm trying to decide whether I start a new island, or like, can I go through the gauntlet of shame of going back to the island that I abandoned more than a year ago? Like, have all my villagers be like, I haven't seen you for a year and 4 months or whatever it is, and I'll be like, I'm sorry.
Oh, they'll just be skeletons now, Amy.
No, it's a thing. Like, I've seen people posting because they've gone back after like having spent like more than a year off the game, and like the villagers are all like, "I haven't seen you for a year and 3 months. Where have you been?" Like, and it's a proper like guilt trip.
That's fabulous. Not gonna lie.
It's like, can I face up to that, or do I just start again?
I think you start. I think you check, but then you just say,
I'm remembering my island, and I'm like, I don't know, like I put a lot of work into that island. Like I had Triceratops Park in the top left-hand corner, and I had my orchard with all the different. I had trees of like all the different fruits you could get, and
yeah, it's all weeds now.
I mean, there'll be weeds everywhere, but it won't take long to pull them all. I had a picnic park with balloons.
I had nothing.
Had a museum on the hill. Oh, it's all coming back to me now, Moody. That was what made me stop. I wanted to move the houses around, and it was going to be such a fuck on that I decided not to, and then I just dropped the game after that.
That's fair.
But anyway, let's move on. Moody, God of War's coming to PC.
Yes, it is.
This is from Ed Nightingale over at Eurogamer. He writes, Sony's 2018 reboot of the series, set in Norse mythology, has been listed on Steam with a release date of 14th of January 2022, priced at $39.99. The release comes just in time for God of War Ragnarok, due on PlayStation consoles sometime in 2022. A PlayStation blog noted that as of August 2021, 19.5 million copies of God of War PlayStation 4 have been sold. Right?
They're like, we want 20 million.
Shit. We could probably sell another 19 million on PC.
Well, at least another 5 to 10, I would say. Yeah, no doubt. This was always going to happen. We know this. They've been pushing for this for a while. And I know there's discourse online, and I think I don't really give a flying hoot.
Couldn't believe it.
For those idiots online saying, why is this going here? Why would you not want people to be playing your games? You complain about if Xbox have exclusives that you can't play, but you don't want. It's just idiotic and stupid, and I'm not going to get into that Discord. God of War 2018 was one of the best games of that year, if not the best game of that year. It was
my game of the year.
I think it was my game of the year as well.
I'd put it up there as one of, if not the best game of that console generation, that PS4.
This is a game that came out. This is a game. This game came out the year that Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. And people are still talking about both of those games, and which is fantastic. Like, Red Dead didn't work for me personally, but I'm so happy that it's still going for a lot of people. And like God of War, it's still getting talked about, which is fantastic. And obviously it helps. Obviously, they've just shown off the sequel and the gameplay and everything, which I'm super hyped for. And this is fantastic. More people playing games, which is the beauty of it. That's what we want to see. The PC gamers moan all the time that sometimes that they can't play the PlayStation games because they prefer to play on a PC. They don't like the console space. That's their choice, and that's fair with that. And if they get a chance to do this, that's fantastic. Like, I'm tempted to buy it. Like, I'm thinking there's not much out coming out at the beginning of the year, and I'm thinking, I could maybe just crack it out. First game, buy that. First game to crack out, and then slide straight into Pokemon Arceus at the end of the month.
There's not much coming out at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, the first 3 weeks of January.
The first 3 weeks of January, yeah. Which is historically, jam-packed with games.
It's a perfect appetizer just to make me go, yes, duh, duh, duh. And then go straight into Pikachu.
I've got to admit, what I might do is I might download it on my PS5 and just pretend I'm playing it on PC. Just be like,
the PC port.
Oh yeah, God of War on PC. I'm definitely playing it on PC.
Never hit that home button.
Amy, I can see you on PlayStation. But on the PlayStation app, you're playing it on PlayStation. No, I'm not.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, this is sexy. I can't wait for it. And to know, I just like I'll say this right now. I know it's not going to happen, but like PlayStation, whenever you release Ragnarok, which I think we all assume is probably going to be 2023, please release the PC port at the same time. We know you're not.
They won't.
I think you're hoping they're going to eventually get to that because obviously they've just bought a PC port studio, and that's something they probably want to get to eventually. But I think get it out as fast as possible because I won't be able to play it unless I'm eventually able to get a PlayStation flipping 5.
I think
because I won't have a PlayStation 4 then because that's getting traded in.
Yeah, I think there's like I think this like lag of like a few years between it coming out on a PlayStation console and coming out on PC is where PlayStation want to be. You've seen it with Horizon, like when they released Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War. You might see Spider-Man come out on PC within the next 12 months, because that was that was the same year as God of War.
Yeah, I'll be very surprised if we don't hear, say, 6 months or by summer of next year that we hear Spider-Man's coming to the PC as well.
Yeah,
I'll be surprised.
Like,
isn't there a PlayStation
Uncharted coming out, isn't it? Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy. Did they already come out?
No, but isn't there a PlayStation event happening soon?
This week. Or this week it's going to be focused on early 22, Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy. There's a PlayStation State of Play coming this week, which is going to be focused on third-party games. The rumor is, because there's some store pages that got updated, the games are going to be like Final Fantasy 16, Cheer, that game that we saw at the showcase, the one where you're playing the ukulele and you can.
Oh yeah.
That was one. Hold on. There was like 4 games. I just remember Final Fantasy 16 because that was a thing. If I can't find it within the next 30 seconds, I'll just.
It's not that important at the end of the day. We're talking about God of War.
Bugging me now. Yeah, I can't find it, but it's just a few third-party games probably. Unless Resident Evil is doing something, because they're supposed to be releasing a game every year. Like that's what their plan was. I don't know if that plan has shifted or not, but we still haven't seen anything from them about a new game.
Yeah, true.
Maybe we'll finally get the multiplayer game that everybody's asked for. Moody, I'm looking at the time of the podcast left. I'm looking at what we've got left. There's 2 things in front of you. If you scroll down between the story and the thing, which one do you want to talk about?
I don't want to talk about both of them.
I kind of want to talk about both. Actually, we'll probably, if we're quick, which I will be on the first one we can. Let's talk about the Uncharted trailer.
Yes.
You go first.
I had no expectations when it come to this, but I enjoyed what I saw. There's no doubt about it. It's heavily influenced by Uncharted 3 and Uncharted 4. That's a mile. Like we can see that. There's a literal scene that happens in Uncharted 3 that they literally show off in this trailer, which is which I won't lie, it looked good. I won't lie, it's going to be interesting. I enjoyed it. I think it's going to be a dumb, simple popcorn flick, which is an Uncharted game.
I was going to say, apart from
the emotional reaches that we're hoping for, I hope so, but we'll see what happens with it. I had a lot of fun with the trailer. I'll say this right now. I'm just calling them out. Henry, it's not a fucking perfect trailer. I'm just going to say that right now. You're crazy. You are absolutely crazy.
Wow.
I know that's subjective, but he messaged me privately and he said, "Yeah, it's perfect." And I raised my eyebrow and went, "What's he talking about?" So I watched the singing. Oh, okay. All right, that was all right. That was fun. And I said, "You're crazy. That's not perfect, mate. You don't even understand what perfect is."
Yeah, I had no expectations for this trailer because I forgot they were making an Uncharted movie. So when the trailer started blowing up all over social media, obviously I watched it and I was just like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
I've played the games, and you said, I'm seeing the trailer and I'm seeing either scenes directly lifted from the games or things that I recognize from one of the 4 Uncharted games, because it seems like it's going to be an amalgamation of just the whole series.
Which is a little worrying for me, a little bit,
because I'm
lot. That is a serious lot. But didn't we hear that when they were talking about doing this, they were going to do their own separate story? This ain't their own separate story. You've taken everything from each game, pretty much.
Yeah, it's there's definitely stuff from 3. Like you said, there's an entire scene lifted directly from 3. The story stuff that they were talking about seems to be following 4, but then there's also stuff from Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 1 that you can spot in there, and it's I don't know, it seems like a bit of a mishmash. Now the problem there is the Uncharted series 1 to 4, there's 4 games. They're 4 very separate stories. It's not really a contiguous story.
Yeah.
they're four very separate things. So I'm confused about what they're going for. But if I was watching it and someone who hadn't played Uncharted, it just looks like dumb fun. That's what Uncharted games are. Like Uncharted 4 was the only one like that really went for the emotional stakes, right? I would say. With plot points that I'm not going to say because they're spoilers and they might be spoilers for the movie. But I think they really went for it. There were obviously like serious dramatic moments in all four games. But I don't know. Was there a character like was there a major character missing from the trailer, or did I just not watch it properly?
Yeah, I don't think Elena's in it.
Yeah, right? I was keeping my eye out for Elena. And I never saw her.
yeah. No doubt about it. Yeah, I don't think she's in it.
Like,
which
what?
Is kind of understandable, which is kind of understandable because she doesn't make him until adult, but obviously they can change that story if they wanted to.
Yeah, but I mean, you've also got... Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, the core relationship of the Uncharted games is between Nathan and Elena.
Yeah.
Like, and she's not going to be in the film.
So right now,
I was a bit like, okay.
The cast right now does not show Elena. Nope. Sarah Perkins as a young woman, it says. So maybe she's her, but they're obviously maybe keeping her character a secret, maybe? I don't really know, yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna like... I'm not going to live or die whether this movie is good or not. And like my thoughts on the trailer were...
The thing is, this trailer wasn't aimed at... This is the peak. I think gamers who love the Uncharted franchise or have played the Uncharted franchise need to realize this trailer and this film isn't for you.
Yeah, obviously.
It is for the casual audience who love movies.
Yeah.
That's who they're aiming for. That's who they're appealing for. Everything in that trailer is... right and appeals to that audience.
Yeah, it's an action movie trailer.
Excitement. Everyone knows who Tom Holland is. Everyone and all like that. So like everyone knows he's a bankable star. He's done an amazing. Oh, Mark Wahlberg. Audience does like Mark Wahlberg. Antonio Banderas, the Spanish sex god. Like, yes, bring him in. Everyone loves him as well. Like, come on. You've got the perfect it's a good little cast. I know little people are like, where's Mark Wahlberg? Hasn't got a mustache or anything like that. Get over it. Seriously. I hope there's a scene in the movie where you literally see him shaving it off.
Could you imagine I just imagine Mark Wahlberg with a mustache. Like,
I don't think he would suit it.
I don't think he would suit a mustache.
And anyway, Mark Wahlberg, he's a good actor, for God's sakes, ladies and gentlemen. And I know everyone's like, oh, why can't Nathan Fillion be it? Because they want to franchise the shit out of this. Nathan Fillion's like nearly 60.
Nathan Fillion, I agree, would be fucking perfect. As Nathan Drake. He's done it. He's done it in that short film that got made. He would be perfect. The role was made for him. The problem is, and I hate saying this, but like the way they want to do the Uncharted films, the way Sony wants to do the Uncharted films, he's just too old. I'm sorry. Like, I want to see it more than anyone else. I've been saying this to Moody for years, but I also know it's never going to happen.
The thing is, I even agree with people. When I heard everyone was saying Nathan Fillion, I was saying, yes, that's actually pretty perfect. There's no doubt about it. I'll never deny that, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone. But yeah, it's like, get over it, guys. How about just support what's happening? Just support it. If you don't want to, bloody movie. Just don't see the movie, and that's fine.
And maybe in a future film, if this done does well and everyone goes to see it, in a future film they might do a framing device of where like a story being told through flashbacks, where we get to see a little bit of Nathan Fillion as an older Nathan Drake.
They could do that, and it would be amazing. They could so do that, and it would be so good.
But I definitely, after watching this trailer, went back to watch the Nathan Fillion short fan film Uncharted.
It's good. Yeah, I don't deny it. Years ago, and I was thinking, this is awesome.
Well, no, it's a good sign that watching the trailer made me wanna watch the Uncharted thing, right? Like, it made me want to engage with Uncharted, so I guess that's a good sign.
I'll say this right now, like this trailer did something for me. It made me want to go, I might play the Uncharted trilogy. But I'm just like, I'll wait until it comes out on PC and buy it on PC.
Yeah. Well, it's just
PlayStation is going to not only flies away, because when I turn it on, it flies. It's literally going to go away in the day.
That was my PlayStation 4 trying to play Last of Us Part 2 last year. It was just screaming the entire time, and to be fair, so was I. Do you want to quickly talk about Austin Powers in Mass Effect?
This is the greatest thing ever.
I fucking love it so much.
Yeah, because it's just so fair, especially like just the hits of like when he's when how they frame it when the lady's talking. It's just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And then when he comes out and he goes. He pulls that face anywhere when she comes out walking like that. You're just like, oh my god.
They went for it. Like someone. So if anyone that doesn't know, go and Google Austin Powers Mass Effect. But also, like it's Austin Powers. Someone's edited like a trailer, which is basically Mass Effect scenes, but with Austin Powers in it, and
it somehow works so perfectly.
It works perfectly because that's been the joke, right? Like the whole thing of Mass Effect is it's not about saving the galaxy from sentient machine race that's trying to wipe everyone out. It really is just about flying around banging as many aliens as you can. In a sense, like Shepard is the Austin Powers of the future, so it works so well.
Yeah, it is. I'm just like, oh, behave.
Oh, behave. And you got the little thing where he's shooting, like, it's just, yeah. You should check it out. It was a highlight of like things I've seen in the last week.
Yeah, it's one of the funniest things.
And Moody showed me, and so thank you for that, Moody. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, Amy, we got 2 reviews.
We got 2 reviews.
Yes. Which one do you want to go for first?
I've put them in order, so
Unsighted.
It's the one that's definitely freshest in my mind. I finished it.
I saw you finish it
6
live
hours
on
ago.
Twitch.tv/WordBugGames.
Hell yeah. That's not the T anymore, sis. There's no T. I'm out of T.
What the hell?
But yes, Unsighted.
All right. Unsighted, everybody, is available on Nintendo Switch, Xbox Game Pass, PC, and I think it's on PlayStation as well, but I might be wrong about that. Studio is Pixel. The developer is Studio Pixel Punk. Publisher Humble Games, and genres are an RPG action platformer. Quick description: after a long war with the humans, the few androids that remain in Arcadia are running out of anima, the energy that gives all robots consciousness. It's up to you, Alma, to find the way to recover your memories and save your friends from becoming unsighted. Explore the vast ruins of Arcadia using every tool you can find. Time is ticking. They need you, Alma.
Oh, it's a Metroidvania, all right.
I saw you play this.
You did. You were hanging in chat. It was great. Well, you were hanging in Discord even better.
So, general thoughts of Unsighted.
So I went into this game with like no expectations. Like I'd seen a couple of people talk about it. It was one of those indie games that flew under the radar a bit. But I'd seen a couple of people talking about it, and I think it was one review I saw, which I didn't read the review. I read the headline, which said it was the best Metroidvania in years, and that was where I was like, "Oh, I like Metroidvanias." And then I found out it was made by 2 trans women in Brazil, and I was like, "Interesting." And then I found out it was on Game Pass, and I was like,
"Super interesting."
I'm in. Let me just add this to the old Twitch schedule.
Yeah, so right now it's rated very highly on OpenCritic.
I would imagine it is. It's a very, very good game. It's a very hard game. So, like, I'm just prefacing that right now. I loved the game. I thought it was great. But my first hour or so with the game, like up until the first proper boss fight, I was having a kind of frustrating time with it because it's very difficult, and in a way that's very difficult for me. Like personally, like again, like I've always said, difficulty is subjective, right? Like I can beat Bloodborne, I can beat Dark Souls 3, but I had some trouble with this game Unsighted. But I dropped the difficulty using their Explorer mode, which lets you toggle some stuff. So like it's not just turn difficulty down, button. It's like you can toggle a bunch of stuff. So I like turned a couple of things on and turned the whole thing on. So that I'm just putting that out there now, so because that's going to color what I say about the game, because it was still quite challenging in places, as Moody can attest to, even on the lower difficulty.
Very good. Yeah, to what I've seen from this game and what I saw you play, I was just like, this looks awesome. I won't lie. I love that type of art style to
8-bit pixely
type of pixely art style. Some of the character art styles were breathtakingly beautiful.
Give me strength. I think I said a couple of times on the stream today, this is a thirsty game, and I wasn't prepared.
It was a thirsty
game. Oh my god. Oh, I fell in love a couple of times.
Only a couple of
times.
Yeah, it was. To what I've seen, it looked absolutely breathtaking, and I can understand why you enjoyed it, no doubt. But what are your thoughts on the story?
Yeah, it's a pretty good story. So, like, one of the things I did when I dropped the difficulty was I turned off time. It's a weird sentence, but it's true. So, like, it alludes to it in the description you read, but, like, so in the story of the game, in the fiction of the game, automatons run on anima. Anima comes from a meteor that crashed into the planet, and then the humans came and they built a tower around the anima so that, like, the automatons would stop getting the anima, and that's what gave them consciousness. So the enemies that you see are all Unsighted. They're all automatons that have run out of anima and they've lost their minds and they've gone savage, essentially. Or they've gone wild, they've gone rogue. And every character that you meet in the game has a time limit. Like, every character you meet says X amount of hours remaining, including you, X amount of hours remaining. And every time you transition screens, you lose an hour, basically. And there's a clock that's ticking down, right? So, like, there's an intensity to it if you don't do what I did, which is turn the time off, where it's like everyone is running out of time. And that isn't just part of the fiction as like a thing in the back of your mind where it's like, we got to do this because everyone is theoretically running out of time. Everyone is literally running out of time. Like, if a character's time ticks down to 0, they become Unsighted and they become someone you have to fight in the world. And you can delay this with special items you can find out in the world, but I obviously turned that off because it was way too stressful for me. Like, when you go in, and I can see why this would make it a brilliant game, like, but it was still a brilliant game for me. But when it was like, I like you, and I like you, and I like you, and all of you have got these time bombs, and I'm bad at this game, Moody, so I'm losing loads of time to getting lost and dying. I was like, I can't take the pressure. I can't take this pressure, and I had to turn it off. But, like, for that brief window where I didn't have it off, I was like, oh shit, like, it's on. Like, I gotta fucking fix this shit quick. So, like, that part of the story is great. Like, the main narrative is really good. There's a really cool message throughout the game. There's, like, a couple of good messages, because despite the game being, like, post-apocalyptic and you're struggling against humans, and, you know, there's, like, spoilery stuff like you saw later on in the game where it's, like, some of the stuff that the humans did. And, like, it would have been so easy to be a downbeat game. But instead, like, it's a hopeful game. Like, the message is that the game is essentially about hope, or about having hope. The last words of the final boss, like, are about building a world with love. And, like, I just found that really beautiful and really touching. And, like, that is sort of like a theme that's woven throughout the game. And I think we need more games with that kind of message, to be honest.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like, I think as many times, like, shows, TV shows, or films and games that I've just rewatched or replayed many, many times, just because their stories are just all about hope or rising up and, like, helping and all like that. And that's what you want to see. And yeah, we don't see a lot of that these days. There's no doubt. And yeah, we definitely need that. Like, the story, for what I saw, was just like, it was very touching. It was very heartfelt.
It was, and
I really enjoyed what I saw.
It had great writing. Like, the characters were so well written, so it was easy to get invested in the fiction of the world. Like, you saw me running around at one point looking for this one character because I was like, where are they? They said they were going to come back. Where are they? And then it turns out it was a thing you found out about later. But like, I was that invested in like a minor character who you talk to like twice because I was just like, I have to make sure you're okay, you know. And it's just like you've got Iris, the little fairy robot that follows you around, and you've got Big Axe Mommy, who you barely see in the game, but I was obsessed with because she was a big buff lady and she had a big axe. But also a really cool character arc. But also, she was a big buff lady with a giant axe.
Yeah.
She can step on me anytime she wants.
I don't think you can ask for much more for that.
No, the bosses, Moody, they were so. I mean, apart from the Gundam with the sword.
I think that's the perfect transition into gameplay itself. So, what's the gameplay like?
Yeah, so it's a Metroidvania. So it's predicated on the fact that there's this big world. It's split into a number of regions. I can't remember how many. And there's like different levels. So you've got the surface.
4.
Yeah, well, it was 5. You were trying to find 5 meteor shards, so I think it was 5. But there was also like there's also like different levels. So there's like the surface. There's the above air. I can't remember what it was called, and then there's underground as well. So you transition between the 3. And what you're doing is you're going to do a thing, and then you get a power-up or a special ability that you can then use to explore a little bit more of the world, and then you get another thing, and you explore a little bit more, and it's the standard Metroidvania type thing.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's fun to explore the map. Like, they connect the maps up in interesting ways. Like, there's different biomes, we'll call them, like different sections, but like they all interconnect and intertwine. There's like a way into one map from like everywhere else, basically.
Yeah.
Like that you can find, which I thought was really interesting. And like that comes into play when you're exploring. Like I was exploring one level with you when you were in chat, when you were in Discord, and like it connected. You had the map itself, the map that you were trying to get to the end of to get to the meteor shard and the boss fight, but like you had to keep coming out of it to go do other stuff, like to come out of it and do more stuff to find a different entrance back into it and then find your way back around again. And I thought that was really interesting. And I think the abilities and stuff that you unlock to explore the map, I thought those were really cool as well. Like you saw how much fun I was having with the double hook shot when I got the double hook shot, and it's not a spoiler that you get that because it's in the trailer. And I was having so much fun exploring around with it, and like you can experiment with it in terms of the gameplay, where it's like, you know, I figured out if I just hook some enemies while I'm hanging over a chasm.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Yeah, the gameplay did look like it was fluid and moved really nice. The combat was
it was
very intuitive. The only time, like I said to you when you were playing it, I was like, I don't understand how you're controlling what's going on in these boss fights and everything. Like you struggled yourself with
so
when
I
you were
was
talking about it. But I was like, I said, it's like I've said on many occasions, I have slow hand-eye coordination, and I was just thinking, I will not be able to do these fights whatsoever. So I'm just glad I was able to experience this game for a short while, because obviously I didn't see you start it.
Yeah.
In that type of vein, I'm just happy I was able to experience and all that. I also got the feeling of gameplay, but also the story through me just watching it with you, which was
cool.
really
That's
good.
cool. Like to segue really, really briefly, like one of the cool things about the stuff we're doing on Twitch is like getting to hang out with you while I'm playing these games. I think it's really good. I think I'm really enjoying that. But back to the game, the combat is really fluid. It's very heavily weighted on a parry mechanic. So you could dodge, obviously, in the game, but like there's also like a button where it's like an enemy flashes red, and you could get through the game without doing this, but you can time a block. So you push B and you can time it, ping, and you do a perfect block, and that stuns an enemy. Sometimes you have to do it twice, boom, boom, on bigger enemies. And then when you do a counter attack, you do massive amounts of damage. You don't have to do that. Like I got through an entire boss fight earlier in the game without parrying because my parry timing sucked on that boss. So I just learned to dodge, and it took longer, but I managed it, you know? And that's cool. Like the combat flows really, really well. And some of the items you can unlock will help you in combat. Like the hook shot's really useful in combat as well as like for exploring. You unlock a bunch of different. You can buy and unlock and craft a bunch of different weapons that have like different stats and abilities, and eventually like have different elements attached to them which enemies are weak to. And you can like activate cogs to give you temporary buffs to like defense and attack and stamina and stuff like that, as well as like equipping chips to like give you permanent boosts to like health and whatnot. Excuse me. But yeah, the issues I was having was like, you say you have poor hand-eye coordination. My thing is like can get overwhelmed when like my senses can get overwhelmed when too many things are happening on the screen at once. And like there was effects on the screen at the same time as I was trying to do boss fights, which Mooney saw. Like I was having real trouble sort of parsing what was happening. But the thing that saved me was I have good reactions. So like if I do see what's coming, I can generally react pretty quickly to it. So like that's what kind of carried me through, especially in the later boss fights, which were fucking wild. Like they were wild, man. And yeah, it's like that carried me through, and it's a very specific problem to have. Like a lot of people probably don't even think about it, but it's like, yeah, like the first boss I fought, it was moving around a lot. It was summoning additional enemies. It was firing particles, and I had to watch out for it coming so I could parry it. But then on top of all of that, there was like this rain effect happening across the entire screen, and I like throwing all of that together plus the rain effect meant I was essentially going blind at certain points in the game when too many things were happening and I couldn't keep track of it, which is where I lowered the difficulty. So at least even if I was making mistakes and getting hit, it wasn't ending my entire run straight right there. But the combat is still really good and it is still really fluid. It flows really nicely.
That's really good. That's what we want to see in a gameplay. So, world.
It's pretty good. It's the all the different biomes are really cool. They're really interesting. They look amazing, like in this pixel art style that they've got going on, and like again, like exploring the world is fun. It's a great like the world has to be fun to explore, like in a Metroidvania. Like otherwise, it just falls apart. Like one of the things I always said about Bloodborne, which I know it isn't a Metroidvania, but is like one of the reasons I love that game so much is because I enjoyed exploring the world, like just going in every direction. And in Unsighted, I did as well. Like I enjoyed going in different directions, like seeing the path ahead of me and going, that's where I need to go. But there's also this path over here, so I'm gonna go down there first and see what's up over here. And you find cool things, and it looks really nice. It's very colorful.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful 8-bit, 16-bit retro style. I really like that style, so it works really well.
Yeah, and the developers have put a lot of thought into making memorable locations, right? It's like the different places you go to like a massive aquarium is one of the dungeons, and another dungeon is like a university, and another dungeon is like a library. It's all post-apocalyptic, like post-humanity. And like it's not just like the lava level and the ice level, like those levels exist. Like because the main elements of these levels are like ice and fire, but a lot of like creativity has gone into making them cool places as well as just being like themed around specific elements.
Yeah, which is really kind of like I said, they balance it out really well, which is really good. Music, sound.
The music was great. It was a bop. Like I was really digging it. It's like a nice, like Phil turned up to the stream last Friday and he was saying like he dug the lo-fi vibes, right? And that's what it was. It was like a nice lo-fi soundtrack. It really accompanied the gameplay really well. Like when you're generally exploring like in the overworld and stuff, you are kind of like in a sort of mellow headspace, right? Of just like wandering around trying to find stuff, and then like maybe you get into a big fight and then the music would still be like lo-fi hip-hoppy, but still not like, like a Final Fantasy battle theme all of a sudden. Like, and it just fit the vibe of the game really well. And then you heard the music for the last boss.
I did, yeah. It was really weird.
That was really strange, but it fit really well.
Yeah.
So like I think at all times the soundtrack, which is one of the highest praises I can give a soundtrack for a video game, is like at all times the soundtrack fit what was happening on the screen.
Yeah,
like
no doubt.
yeah, the music never took me out of the experience at any point.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say. No doubt about it. It really worked, and that's what you need. You need the right balance for it, and going for a unique, different one, I think helps it, and it's one of its strengths.
Yeah.
Well, it's the part what no one wants to talk about, but what didn't work, Amy?
So like the level of difficulty didn't work for me. But again, there's great robust difficulty options in the game. So that's not just like turn difficulty down button. It's like, okay, so you turn it on explore. It's called explorer mode. And like there's you can be invincible. Like they've just taken that idea straight from Celeste, where it's like if you want to just be invincible, you can just be invincible. You can have extra stamina. You can make the combat slightly easier. You can turn off the timers on all the characters if you don't want the stress of like maybe they might die if you don't hurry the fuck up. But like, it's cool that all that stuff's there. But yeah, it was a bit rough for the first sort of hour or so, where I was getting really frustrated. Like I was getting stuck on like just normal enemies. So like that was almost a deal breaker for me until I sort of sorted that out. Other than that, nothing really didn't work for me. Like I think the length was just about right for the game. And anything else I haven't talked about was fine. Like I just think going in, it was like a rough entry going in.
Yeah, finding that right balance for difficulty can be really difficult. Pardon the pun there. But knowing that they have that accessibility options, I guess it's fair to say that they can make you invincible and you can just go out and enjoy the game and not have to worry about getting completely murdered all the time or anything like that. Like, that's obviously a great option to have. Like, I fell in love with Celeste because I was able to do that.
Yeah, it's like I found the fun, right?
Yeah. And now that I know that's in there, I'm not going to lie, I think I'm going to add this to my list to play. Hopefully play this sometime this year.
Oh, nice.
There's only 10 weeks left. It'll probably be the Christmas time. Smash it during the Christmas period or something like that.
Go for it. Like, and if you find it in the game really frustrating, yeah, you can like just be invincible.
Yeah, and not have to worry about it. Like that, just playing a chill game. Not a chill. Let me rephrase this: a game that is great, but you can play it chill, and that's always, I think, is always a good option to have. Like we've championed for many podcasts now of accessibility. Like an easy mode is not a hurt on the game. It allows people to be more accessible to play the game. You know?
I agree.
And everything like that.
I agree.
I'm really happy about that. It's great to hear that. And it's on Game Pass as well, ladies and gentlemen.
It's on Game Pass.
So check it out. Final thoughts, Amy?
It's a good game. It's a really, really good game. It surprised me mostly because I had never heard of it before I played it, before I like basically played it. So it came out of nowhere for me, which is very rare for a game to do these days. But yeah, it's a really, really canny game, as Moody would say. And I really liked it a lot. It's got cool characters who you like. It can be like stressful, like, oh no, like you can really feel those like apocalyptic odds that are stacked against you in the gameplay, as well as just being told it in the story, which is cool, but you also don't have to have that, which is nice if that's not what you really want out of the game. It's just a really well put together Metroidvania, and I think you'll probably be hearing me talk about it in January.
Ooh. Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing indeed. Very nice. Very juicy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the game reviews of this episode. Now it's time for us to move in to the games out next week, but let us know what you think of that game, Unsighted. Go on.
Given that you're under the weather, do you want me to do this week?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fine. Games out this week. On October 26th, we have Moonglow Bay for PC, Xbox, and Game Pass. In Moonglow Bay, you play as a rookie angler, working together with friends, family, and neighbors to hone your fishing skills, nourish relationships, and restore a remote town's fractured community. Also on October 26th, you got Guardians of the Galaxy coming to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox consoles. Fire up a wild ride across the cosmos with a fresh take on Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. In this action-adventure game, you are Star-Lord, leading the unpredictable Guardians from one explosion of chaos to the next. You got this. Probably. Then on October 28th, we've got Age of Empires 4 coming to PC, Xbox consoles, and Game Pass. I think it's coming to Xbox. I hadn't actually thought about that. I don't know if it is. I don't know. I think it's just a PC game. I might be wrong. One of the most beloved real-time strategy games returns to glory with Age of Empires 4, putting you at the center of epic historical battles that shaped the world. You also got Happy Game coming to PC and Switch. A little boy falls asleep to a horrible nightmare. Can you make him happy again? Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars, coming to PC, PlayStation consoles, and Switch. Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars is an RPG set in a world of swords and sorcery told entirely through the medium of cards. Lastly, on October 28th, you've got Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater, coming to PC, PlayStation, Xbox consoles, and Switch. Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater comes to Steam for the first time, and all the other consoles. I pulled this description directly from Steam. To celebrate the 20th anniversary of the horror adventure series Fatal Frame, the game is set on sacred Mount Hikami, a site of many mysterious and terrifying incidents. Lastly, on October 29th, Mario Party Superstars comes to Switch. Calling all superstars, get ready to party! With 5 classic boards from the Nintendo 64 era and 100 minigames from across the series in Mario Party Superstars for Nintendo Switch. 3 games in that list where I'm like, oh, I just finished a game today, and I was like, yay, a game I can check off my list. And then I looked at the games out this week, and I was like, there's 3 games on this list that I really want to play. Shit. They're multiplying.
You like smack. No, but yeah, there's some fun ones like you got Code Sinks, Moonglow Bay.
Yeah, that looks cool.
Obviously got Guardians of the Galaxy, which is the reviews are out, ladies and gentlemen, everyone for that, and it looks like it's a pretty good game, which is sounding really canny. I'll be trying that out, I think, between you and me, so looking forward to that. I know my partner next to me is super excited for Age of Empires 4 that comes out this week.
Yeah, we might get Sophia on just to review Age of Empires.
Because
Moody might not get anywhere near his computer for a while.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah. So, but no. Yeah. Super excited for all the games that are coming out.
Yeah. For me, Happy Game. I saw this at one of the E3 shows. It's proper fucked up. It's exactly an Amy kind of game. It's so fucked up, the trailer. And I was just like, I have to keep an eye on this, and it's coming out, and I'm like, shit. Like, if I hadn't already.
Is crazy.
If Inscription wasn't already a thing that I was definitely going to play, like, I'd be playing Happy Game on the day it comes out. It's exactly like if you see the trailer for Happy Game, you'll watch it and you'll go, yeah, that's an Amy game.
Definitely.
And Mario Party, but I can never get anyone to play Mario Party with me. So it's time for OpenCritic Head-To-Head. This is the game myself and Moody play every single week where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever guesses closest to the OpenCritic average at the time of recording gets a point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Last week, or should I say 2 weeks ago, because there were no reviews last week, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of NHL 22. I guessed it would get an 88 because I was memeing. I was memeing at that point, I think. And Moody guessed it would get a 73. At the time of recording, NHL 22 has an OpenCritic average of 71. Last week, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of the Dark Pictures anthology House of Ashes. I guessed it would get a 76 because I stopped memeing last week, I guess. And Moody guessed it would get an average of 71. And at the time of recording, House of Ashes has an OpenCritic average of 73. And I just realized if you had switched your guesses around,
Yeah, I would have got 4
you would have got
points.
4 points.
I know. I'm so annoyed.
That's amazing. Oh wow, I came close to getting obliterated.
I know, which is even more annoying.
It puts the current scores, however, at Amy 20, Moody 19. There have been 2 draws, and some other people have some other points as well. This week, it's Mario Party Superstars because all the fucking review embargoes dropped before we could record this podcast.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you've already given me Mario Party Superstars already, have you? Because that's what's on the list.
Oops. You know what that's meant to say? House of Ashes.
Yeah. I was wondering, is she just giving me it now? She's foreseen the future?
Absolutely not. I've already lost one game. I'm not losing another. Why did I put House Party? What's going on? House of Ashes and Mario Party got mixed up in my head. I just wrote House Party. Which one of us is losing their mind today?
I do not know. So then Nintendo people are going to be all over this game. It's going to sell very well.
Thing is, so like the last Mario Party was pretty well regarded, right?
Even though it barely had anything in it. That's the crazy thing about it.
Yeah, like that was a game that was crying out for DLC.
Yeah, but they never gave it.
Like it was a solid baseline, but then it was like...
Yeah, it was Mario 10, wasn't it?
No, Mario 10 was the one that came out on Wii U, and that game was terrible.
Which one is it then?
This one was Super Mario Party, was the last
Super Mario Party, yeah.
Mario Party 10 was so bad, people gave it bad reviews. That's how bad Mario Party 10 was.
And if I'm right, this is like basically throwing everything that everyone expects it to be, wasn't it?
Yeah, so Super Mario Party was like the redemption story. It was like, hey, they made Mario Party again. And this one is they're bringing back the boards from, because there was loads of N64 Mario Parties. They're bringing back like boards from like the fan favorite classics. They're bringing back the fan favorite mini games, throwing it all into one game. But it could still go either way.
Yeah, it really could.
Mario Party is a weird one where it's a game that's popular with people who love Mario Party games.
But it's not. It doesn't review.
It doesn't review tremendously well. Like I love Mario Party games, but yeah, it's like you see reviews sometimes and you're like, it's fair, but
yeah, if you want to rent it, I'll happily rent this with you.
I was hoping you'd say that.
I have no problem playing it.
It's finding the time.
Oh, okay. 70.
70.
I think I'm being generous.
I'm not so sure. Like I say, I could go either way. I'm gonna go 73.
I knew you were gonna stay close to me this time. I knew you were.
Stay close to you last time, to be fair.
That's true, right? Yeah.
No, like I know we do it on an honor system, but I always think of my number before you've said your number. I only change it if you say the same thing as me, and you can tell when you said the same thing as me because I'm like motherfucker.
You right, old rat bass son of a bitch.
Apart from the one time I rolled dice for Avengers, which fucked me right off. 97, you know. Thanks, dice.
I think I'm going to be getting some dice, hopefully, when we meet up soon. I think from next year, we just roll dice all the time.
No.
Let's just go into full chaos.
No, God, no.
What do we think Elden Ring's going to get?
5.
Well,
what?
Mine says 25. Well, I have to follow the dice, just like Steph did in wavelengths.
Don't do that. Not for this. Not for this game.
No. It's a cracking match. Like I was like pretty far behind, but I've crawled it back the last couple of games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you've had a run.
You had a run, then
I
had a run. You've had a run. Yeah, it's backwards and forwards, which I really like.
We're fighting. I mean, at the moment, Fantasy Critic is quite backwards and forwards.
Yeah, it's all over the place, isn't it?
It's just that I'm gonna run out of games.
Yeah, like you basically you needed Halo to say today,
I'd rather get the
We're
game.
pushing it next year.
Like I would rather get the
know.
game. Like
I know, I'm joking.
I've got plans for when that game comes out. Like
It's a shame that the co-op's not on that.
I know it is a shame. Like
Are you bullshitting me there? I feel like you're bullshitting me with the craziness.
No,
it
is because I know you wouldn't do that because you've had the warnings.
You could have literally typed it in stream. If Moody says this, he dies.
No, what was it? What was it I said? If I hear the thing, I'm gonna delete the YouTube channel, delete the Twitch account. You're fired. That's it. It's over.
So if Amy annoys me, I know how to get rid of her.
Get rid of me, all right? You get rid of everything. No, like I'm gonna smash the campaign and then I'm gonna smash the multiplayer. So.
And I'm gonna smash the campaign and not touch the multiplayer.
I'm a mark when it comes to Halo's multiplayer.
The thing is, like, out of all the 3 multiplayers that came out that were revealed and that have been played, like Halo's, Battlefields, and Call of Duty's, Halo's the one that everyone's loving.
Yeah.
The other ones, people are saying are buggy.
Well, I like Halo's just Halo, man. Like, and it's been a bit rough at times, but like at its peak, like there was nothing better than it. Like when it was right up there at its peak. And the funny thing is, people have different opinions about when that was.
I know. Like both you and me agree that the best story is 4.
Campaign-wise, Halo 4 was the best story. That is an incredibly controversial opinion, but I stand by it. But like me and Keith have different ideas of what the best multiplayer was. Like even me and Keith, I can't agree on the best multiplayer.
What's
wild.
his?
I want to say his was Halo Reach.
What's yours?
Halo 2.
So,
yeah. And I love 3. I loved Reach. I even loved 5, but 2 was special.
The thing is, I don't think anyone's ever complained about the multiplayer when it comes to Halo.
4 wasn't great. Like Halo 4's multiplayer wasn't great, but I don't think anyone ever thought it was bad so much as it was just wasn't at that level, you know.
Wasn't at the peak that
they've
hit
the peak,
before.
yeah. Anyway, we should go. Yeah. This has been I love talking, Moody, and I know we could go for another hour just talking about whatever.
Yeah, we could.
Nobody's going to click on that podcast.
No, not at all.
It's 3.5 hours long this week. What the fuck? The timestamp for the last hour and a half is just you can stop now.
Keep on going.
All right, that's going to do it for episode 278 of the Words About Games podcast. Look forward to next week when I have a proper intro written with all the new information. But until then, we hope to see you on twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. Check it out for the schedule and come chat with us. But Moody, I believe you're the one that closes out these podcasts. So what you got?
It's a new week, everybody. You know what that means. Positive energy to start the week off with. Every day is a new beginning. Take a deep breath, smile, and start again. You are awesome.
So are you.
I'll try.
Yeah. I mean, you do. You are very trying, but you're also pretty cool most of the time.
Oh.
See you later, everybody.
Bye.